In the heart of a world where imagination reigns supreme lies the enchanting realm of Elarion, a land vibrant with magic and wonder. Here, towering trees with luminescent leaves shimmer under a sky painted with swirling hues of violet and gold, casting a gentle glow that dances across the forest floor. Rivers of crystal clear water meander through lush meadows, their surfaces reflecting the stars above, while the air is filled with the sweet scent of blooming flowers and the soft hum of ancient songs sung by the wind. In Elarion, every element of nature is alive and interconnected, creating a harmonious symphony that echoes through the valleys and hills. The fairies of Elarion are the guardians of this magical world, each one a unique blend of beauty and purpose. With delicate wings that sparkle like dew in the morning sun, they flit from flower to flower, tending to the flora and fauna that surround them. Their laughter mingles with the rustling leaves, and their dances under the stars are said to summon the very essence of the realm's magic. In this society, the fairies are not only caretakers of the land, but also its storytellers, passing down tales of bravery, love, and the importance of balance that have shaped their history. As the sun sets, the realm transforms into a breathtaking spectacle, with fireflies illuminating the night in a cascade of colors, and the stars above twinkling in response to the fairies' gentle songs. Elarion thrives on the connection between its inhabitants and the magic that flows through it, a bond that is both nurturing and essential for the realm's survival. It is a place where dreams take flight and where the lessons of the past are woven into the fabric of everyday life, reminding all who dwell there of the significance of unity and respect for the natural world. In the heart of Elarion, nestled among the vibrant blossoms of the Whispering Glade, lived a fairy named Liora. With her shimmering, iridescent wings that sparkled like the dew on morning petals, she was a sight to behold. Liora was known throughout the glade for her insatiable curiosity and boundless energy. While other fairies were content to tend to their immediate surroundings, Liora often found herself drawn to the uncharted corners of the realm, yearning to uncover its deepest secrets. Her heart beat in rhythm with the whispers of the wind, and she felt a magnetic pull toward the stories that flowed like a gentle stream from the elders' lips, tales of ancient magic and the delicate balance that sustained their world. Each day, Liora would flit from one flower to the next, collecting nectar not just for sustenance, but for inspiration. She was a guardian of the glade, ensuring that the flowers bloomed in time for the spring festival, yet her true passion lay in exploring the vast expanse of Elarion. While her fellow fairies engaged in their daily routines, she would often pause to listen to the songs of the forest, hoping to decipher the hidden meanings behind them. Liora believed that understanding the magic of Elarion was essential to preserving its beauty, and she longed to share her discoveries with others. However, her curiosity was not without its challenges. Liora's desire to explore sometimes led her to question the traditions that had governed the fairies for generations. While the elders cherished the lore of the past, Liora felt that the realm was evolving, and with it, so should their understanding of its magic. Her heart was filled with a sense of purpose, a calling to bridge the gap between the ancient wisdom and the new possibilities that lay beyond the familiar. In the evenings, as the sun dipped below the horizon and the stars began to twinkle, Liora would gather with her friends, sharing her dreams of adventure and the wonders she hoped to find. With every tale, she hoped to ignite the same spark of curiosity in others, believing that the magic of Elarion thrived on the shared experiences of its inhabitants. As she gazed at the glowing trees, she felt a deep connection to the realm, a promise that her journey would not only lead to personal growth, but also contribute to the preservation of the enchanting world she loved. One fateful evening, as the stars shimmered in the twilight sky, a strange hush fell over Elarion. The once vibrant glow of the trees dimmed, their leaves no longer shimmering with the same ethereal light. The rivers, which had always mirrored the heavens, now ran murky and slow, their crystalline waters clouded with an unseen sorrow. Even the gentle hum of the wind, which had carried the fairy songs for centuries, was reduced to a faint, mournful whisper. The fairies, who had long relied on the magic of their world to sustain their joy and vitality, began to feel its absence in ways they had never imagined. At first, many dismissed the changes as a passing anomaly, a fleeting moment of imbalance that would soon correct itself. But as the days passed, the signs of decay grew more pronounced. Flowers wilted before they could bloom, their colors fading into pale, lifeless shades. The air, once filled with the sweet scent of blossoms, now carried a dry, brittle fragrance. The fairies, who had always moved with effortless grace, found their wings sluggish and their magic weaker than ever before. The elders, wise and aged, gathered in hushed circles, their faces etched with worry as they pondered the cause of this mysterious shift. Liora, ever the curious spirit, was the first to notice the change. As she wandered through the whispering glade, she felt the absence of the familiar energy that had always coursed through the land. The songs of the wind, the gentle pulse of magic in the air, both had grown distant, as if the realm itself was holding its breath. A deep unease settled in her heart. She had always believed that the magic of Elarion was eternal, woven into the very fabric of the world, but now it was as if something had been disturbed, something vital had been lost. Determined to uncover the truth, Liora sought out the eldest fairies, hoping they would have answers. Yet even they were uncertain, their wisdom clouded by the same mystery that plagued the land. The fairies of Elarion had lived in harmony with their world for generations, but now they were facing a challenge unlike any before. The magic that once sustained them was slipping away, and if they did not act soon, the enchantment that made their realm so wondrous might vanish forever. With a heart full of determination and a mind buzzing with questions, Liora set off on her journey to restore the fading magic of Elarion. Her first destination was the Verdant Hollow, a lush forest known for its vibrant flora and the gentle songs of the wind. As she flitted through the air, the trees whispered to her, their leaves rustling in a language only she seemed to understand. Here, the fairies tended to the plants, coaxing them to bloom with a touch of their magic. Yet, as Liora arrived, she found the once thriving flowers drooping, their colors dulled. The fairies, usually lively and joyful, now moved with a somber grace, their laughter replaced by quiet murmurs of concern. Liora approached a group of fairies, their wings shimmering faintly in the dimming light. "What is happening to our home?" she asked, her voice a mix of worry and curiosity. The fairies exchanged glances, their faces revealing a shared fear. "The magic is waning," one of them replied, her voice barely above a whisper. "We can feel it in our hearts. The flowers are not blooming as they once did, and the songs of the wind have lost their strength." Liora felt a pang of sorrow, realizing that the very essence of Elarion was under threat. She vowed to find the source of this magic's decline, and with that, she pressed on. Next, she ventured to the Crystal Caves, a place of wonder where the walls sparkled with shimmering stones that reflected the colors of the rainbow. The caves were said to be a sanctuary for the fairies, a place where they could gather to share stories and strengthen their bonds. As she entered, the air felt heavy, and the once bright crystals now glowed with a faint, flickering light. The fairies here, too, seemed to be in a state of distress, their once vibrant colors muted. She noticed a few of them huddled together, their faces drawn with worry. "Have you seen any changes in the magic?" she inquired. A young fairy, her wings a delicate shade of blue, nodded. "We've been trying to summon the crystal's power, but it's as if the magic is trapped, unable to flow freely. It's like a shadow has fallen over our home." Liora's heart raced at the thought of a shadow creeping into the heart of Elarion. She could feel the weight of the fairies' despair and knew she had to find a way to help them. The caves held many secrets, and perhaps if she could uncover the source of the shadow, she could find a way to restore the magic. With the crystal caves behind her, Liora traveled to the Ember Peaks, where the fairies of fire danced among the rocks, their flames illuminating the night. The peaks were a place of celebration, where the fairies gathered to share their stories and celebrate the changing seasons. Yet, as she approached, the fires were low and the fairies moved with a cautious energy, their usual exuberance replaced by a palpable tension. "What troubles you?" Liora asked, her voice echoing softly in the cool mountain air. An elder fairy with wings of deep red looked at her with a mix of hope and fear. "The flames have grown weak, Liora. We cannot summon the warmth we need to keep the peaks alive. Something is amiss, and we are at a loss." The elder's words struck a chord deep within her, and Liora felt the urgency of her quest intensify. Each location she visited painted a clear picture of the realm's plight, and she could sense that the answers lay ahead, hidden in the heart of Elarion. As she continued her journey, Liora was determined to uncover the truth behind the fading magic. With every flutter of her wings, she felt a growing sense of purpose, a fire igniting within her to find the source of the shadow and restore the balance that had been so crucial to their world. The fairies of Elarion needed her, and she was ready to rise to the challenge, no matter where it might lead. As Liora continued her journey through Elarion, the signs of the waning magic became even more apparent. The once thriving lands were now riddled with strange, unpredictable changes. In the whispering glade, the flowers she had always found in full bloom were now wilting before her very eyes, their petals curling inward as if recoiling from an unseen force. The gentle breeze that had once carried the songs of the fairies now whispered in broken, fragmented tones, as though the magic that once filled the air had been disturbed. Determined to uncover the truth, Liora pressed onward, but the path ahead was not without its dangers. As she flew over the Verdant Hollow, the branches of the trees twisted unnaturally, their leaves curling into thorns that reached for her as she passed. She veered off course, her heart pounding as she narrowly avoided a tangle of sharp, grasping vines. The forest, once a place of warmth and wonder, now seemed to resist her presence, as if the land itself had sensed her quest and was trying to stop her. Further along, she encountered a second challenge in the Crystal Caves. The fairies who had once welcomed travelers with open arms now moved in silence, their wings dim and their expressions troubled. As she tried to navigate the cave, the once clear reflections of the crystals distorted into strange, shifting illusions. Shadows of forgotten fairies flickered in the light, whispering warnings and voices that were both familiar and foreign. Liora hesitated, her confidence wavering as the illusions twisted around her, making it hard to tell what was real and what was a trick of the fading magic. She closed her eyes and steadied her breath, recalling the lessons she had learned from the elders. Magic was not just about power, it was about understanding, about listening to the land and its people. Taking a step forward, she reached out with her senses, feeling for the true essence of the cave. The illusions flickered and faded, revealing the path she needed to take. With renewed determination, she pressed on, her wings glowing faintly as she passed through the cave's heart. In the Ember Peaks, the final test awaited her. The fire fairies, who had always been bold and fierce, now seemed hesitant, their flames flickering weakly. As Liora approached the summit, the ground beneath her trembled, and the once steady rocks began to shift. A deep, rumbling voice echoed from the mountain itself. "You do not belong here, little fairy. Turn back before it is too late." The voice was neither cruel nor kind, but filled with a sorrow that resonated deep in her chest. Liora stood firm, her wings trembling, but her resolve unshaken. "I came to help," she called out, her voice steady despite the fear curling in her stomach. "The magic of Elarion is fading, and I will not leave until I know why." The mountain rumbled again, and a gust of wind nearly knocked her off her feet, but she refused to be deterred. Suddenly, a burst of flame erupted before her, forming the shape of a towering figure with eyes like molten gold. "You seek the truth," the figure said, its voice like crackling embers. "But truth is not easily given. It demands courage, and many have faltered before reaching it." Liora met the fire spirit's gaze, her heart pounding with both fear and determination. "Then I will not falter. I will find the truth, no matter the cost." The spirit studied her for a long moment before nodding. "Very well, young fairy, but know this, the path ahead is not for the faint of heart. You must face the shadows of the realm and the doubts within yourself. Only then will you find the answers you seek." With that, the spirit vanished, leaving Liora once more alone. The mountain was silent, but she could feel the weight of its words pressing against her chest. The truth was close, she could sense it, but the journey was far from over. Steeling herself, she took a deep breath and continued forward, ready to face whatever lay ahead. As Liora stepped onto the glowing path, the shadows of the withering woods receded, and the air around her grew lighter. The path led her to a hidden chamber nestled within the roots of the oldest tree in the forest. The walls of the chamber pulsed with a faint rhythmic glow, and at its center stood the Heartstone, now fully revealed in all its ancient grandeur. It was a massive, crystalline structure, shaped like a heart, its surface etched with glowing runes that flickered in and out of existence. The crack she had seen in the Ember Peaks ran through the very core of the Heartstone, and from it a slow, creeping darkness seeped outward, threatening to consume the entire realm. Liora approached the Heartstone, her wings trembling as she reached out to touch it. The moment her fingers met the cool surface, a rush of memories flooded her mind. She saw the fairies of Elarion in their prime, their magic flowing freely as they tended to the land, their songs weaving through the trees and rivers, sustaining the balance of the realm. But then, the memory shifted. The fairies, once united, had grown distant. They had stopped listening to the land, stopped sharing their magic, and instead had hoarded it for themselves, believing that as long as they remained within their own glades, the magic would never fade. The Heartstone, the source of Elarion's enchantment, had always thrived on the harmony between the fairies and the land. It was not a force to be controlled, but a living bond that required care, connection, and balance. Yet the fairies had neglected this bond, and in their silence the magic had begun to wither. The Heartstone had not lost its power, it had been starved of it, its energy siphoned away by the very beings it had once nourished. A soft voice echoed in Liora's mind, neither male nor female, but ancient and wise. "We are not meant to be separated from the magic we cherish. It flows through us, just as we flow through it. When we cease to share, to listen, to care, the magic fades, and with it, the heart of our world." The Heartstone's voice was laced with sorrow, and Liora felt a deep ache in her chest. She had always believed that the fairies were the keepers of magic, but now she understood they were its guardians, not its masters. The realization struck her like a thunderclap. The Heartstone was not failing on its own, it was failing because the fairies had stopped nurturing it. If they were to restore the magic of Elarion, they could not rely on a single fairy's efforts. They had to come together, to remember the unity that had once sustained their world, and to rekindle the bond between themselves and the Heartstone. A sudden jolt of energy surged through the chamber, as the Heartstone pulsed with renewed strength. Liora's vision blurred, and when it cleared, she was no longer in the withering woods. She stood in the heart of Elarion, the same place where the fairies had once gathered in harmony. The Heartstone was no longer hidden, and the darkness that had threatened to consume it was thinning, but not gone. The magic of Elarion was not beyond saving, it simply needed the fairies to remember what it meant to be one with their world. Tears welled in Liora's eyes as she whispered, "We will not forget. We will restore the balance." The Heartstone's glow intensified, and for the first time since she had begun her journey, she felt the magic stirring again, waiting to be awakened by the unity of the fairies. With the truth of the Heartstone's plight revealed, Liora felt a surge of responsibility wash over her. The fairies of Elarion needed to come together to remember their interconnectedness and the role they played in sustaining the magic of their realm. She knew that her journey was just the beginning. She had to rally her fellow fairies and inspire them to restore the balance. As she returned to the Whispering Glade, Liora was met with a mix of confusion and fear. The fairies, still reeling from the dimming of their magic, looked at her with wide eyes. "What did you see?" one of them asked, her voice barely a whisper. Liora took a deep breath, feeling the weight of the Heartstone's sorrow in her heart. "The Heartstone is fading," she declared, her wings shimmering with urgency. "It is not just a matter of losing magic, it is about reconnecting with the very essence of Elarion. We must unite, or we will lose everything." Her words hung in the air, and the fairies exchanged uncertain glances. Some were skeptical, their minds clouded by the fear of the unknown, but others felt a flicker of hope. Liora could see the determination in their eyes, and she knew she had to act quickly. She began to weave the stories of her journey, sharing the memories of the vibrant forest and the powerful magic that once flowed through their lives. "We were once a part of this magic, not separate from it," she reminded them, her voice growing stronger. "The Heartstone is our lifeblood, and we have neglected it for too long." The fairies listened, their hearts slowly opening to the possibility of change. One by one, they began to share their own experiences of the fading magic, how the flowers had begun to wilt, how the songs of the wind had become mere echoes. Liora encouraged them to speak of their fears and hopes, and as they did, a sense of unity began to blossom among them. They realized that their individual struggles were part of a larger narrative, and that together they could reclaim their place in the story of Elarion. Inspired by Liora's words, a group of fairies gathered to form a council. They decided to embark on a mission to restore the Heartstone, each fairy bringing their unique talents to the table. The fairies of the Crystal Caves would use their knowledge of the stones to find the fragments of the Heartstone scattered across the realm. The fire fairies from the Ember Peaks would lend their strength to illuminate the path, while the fairies of the Verdant Hollow would share their wisdom on the importance of nurturing the land. Liora was named the leader of this council, her curiosity and determination now a beacon for others to follow. As they set out, the fairies faced their own challenges. The Crystal Caves were dark and treacherous, and the fairies had to navigate through the shadows that threatened to consume them. But with Liora's guidance, they learned to trust in one another, sharing their light and magic to dispel the darkness. In the Ember Peaks, the flames flickered and danced in response to their collective will, reminding them that even in the face of fear, their unity could create a powerful force. In the Verdant Hollow, the fairies worked together to revitalize the once thriving flora. They sang songs of encouragement, and their magic began to flow again, coaxing the flowers to bloom. Liora watched as her fellow fairies began to rediscover their connection to the land, their laughter echoing through the trees as they worked side by side. The magic of Elarion was not just in the Heartstone, it was in the bonds they formed with each other and the world around them. As they ventured further into the realm, they encountered the remnants of the lost magic, creatures born from despair and neglect. Liora, with her newfound understanding, led the fairies in a dance of light and harmony, reminding them that they could not fight the darkness alone. Together they created a symphony of magic, weaving their strengths into a tapestry of hope. The creatures, once hostile, began to shift in response to their unity, their forms softening as they remembered the joy of being part of the realm's magic. After days of searching, the fairies finally located the fragments of the Heartstone hidden in the depths of the Withering Woods. Each piece pulsed with a unique energy, and Liora could feel the magic of Elarion calling to her. As they gathered the fragments, the fairies shared stories of their ancestors, of how the magic had once flourished because of their unity. They sang together, their voices rising in a harmonious blend that resonated through the forest, and the shadows began to recede, as if acknowledging their efforts. With the fragments in hand, Liora led the fairies back to the Heartstone, now a beacon of hope in the fading light. As they approached, the Heartstone pulsed with a soft glow, and Liora felt a surge of energy within her. "We must place the fragments back into the Heartstone," she urged, her voice steady with conviction. "Only together can we restore its strength." The fairies nodded, their hearts beating in unison as they worked to reassemble the Heartstone, each fairy contributing their magic to the task. As the final fragment was placed, a brilliant light erupted from the Heartstone, illuminating the glade and casting away the shadows that had lingered. The fairies gasped as they felt the magic of Elarion surge back to life, vibrant and full of promise. Liora stood at the center, her wings shimmering with the renewed energy of the realm, and she knew that their unity had not only restored the Heartstone, but had also awakened the spirit of Elarion once more. The fairies had learned the vital lesson of togetherness, and with it, they would heal their world, one bond at a time.
As the brilliant light from the Heartstone enveloped the glade, a wave of warmth and energy surged through Liora and her fellow fairies. The once dimmed trees began to glow with renewed life, their leaves shimmering in vibrant hues of green and gold. The river sparkled once more, reflecting the stars above in a dance of light that echoed the joy of the fairies. Liora felt a rush of exhilaration as she witnessed the transformation of her beloved realm. The Heartstone, now whole and pulsating with magic, was a testament to the power of unity and the strength of their collective will. The fairies gathered around the Heartstone, their laughter rising like a chorus, and Liora felt the weight of her journey lift. She had not only discovered the source of the fading magic, but it also sparked a movement among her kin. They began to share their stories, weaving together the threads of their individual experiences into a rich tapestry of hope. The fairies of the Crystal Caves, with their knowledge of the stones, taught the others how to harness the energy of the land, while the fire fairies from the Ember Peaks demonstrated the importance of passion and strength in nurturing the magic that flowed through them all. As they worked side by side, the fairies felt a profound connection to one another and to the land they cherished. The once wilting flowers began to bloom anew, their colors vibrant and their scent sweet, as if the earth itself was rejoicing in their unity. Liora watched in awe as the fairies' magic intertwined, creating a symphony of light and life that resonated through the trees and rivers. The Heartstone thrummed with a steady rhythm, its energy radiating outward and filling the air with a sense of balance and harmony. In that moment, Liora understood that the magic of Elarion was not merely a resource to be used, but a living force that thrived on the bonds between its inhabitants. The fairies had learned to listen to the whispers of the wind and the songs of the trees, recognizing that their strength lay in their unity. With each shared moment of magic, they felt the Heartstone's power grow stronger, a beacon of hope that illuminated the path forward. As the sun rose over the horizon, casting a warm glow across the land, Liora stood at the forefront of the fairies, her heart swelling with pride. The fairies had come together, not just to restore the Heartstone, but to embrace their roles as guardians of Elarion. The realm was reborn, its magic flowing freely once more, and the fairies were reminded of the lessons that had been passed down through generations. In the end, it was their unity and shared purpose that had saved their world, and Liora knew that this newfound connection would endure, ensuring that the magic of Elarion would never fade again. As the fairies of Elarion stood together in the glade, the Heartstone's glow now steady and radiant, Liora took a deep breath and spoke, her voice carrying the weight of all she had learned. "The magic of our realm is not something we can hoard or control," she said, her wings shimmering with the renewed energy of the land. "It is a living force, and it thrives only when we nurture it, when we share it, and when we remember that we are a part of it, not apart from it." The fairies listened, their eyes reflecting the Heartstone's light. They had once believed that the magic of Elarion was an endless gift, something that would always be there for them, but the Heartstone had shown them the truth. Magic, like any living thing, needed care, balance, and unity to flourish. The fairies had grown distant from one another, each tending only to their own glade, their own magic, without realizing that their separation had weakened the very force they had once cherished. Liora continued, her voice gentle yet firm. "We must never forget that we are not alone. The magic of Elarion is not just in the Heartstone, but in the way we live, the way we care for one another, and the way we listen to the land. When we worked together, when we shared our strengths and our voices, the magic returned. And if we continue to stand as one, it will never fade again." The fairies nodded, their hearts swelling with understanding. They had learned that true strength did not come from individual power, but from the bonds they shared with each other and with the world around them. Magic was not a force to be taken for granted, but a gift to be cherished, and it would only endure if they remained connected. As the sun rose higher, casting golden light over the land, the fairies spread out, each returning to their glade with a renewed sense of purpose. They would no longer live in isolation, but as a part of something greater. They would sing together, dance together, and weave their magic into the land, ensuring that Elarion would remain a place of wonder for generations to come. And so the fairies of Elarion remembered their lesson, and in doing so, they ensured that their world would never be lost to silence and sorrow again.